Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you guys are all having an amazing day, super pumped up, ready for some learning. Anyways, that's going to be the topic of the day, right? So we'll be going over that in a second here. But anyways, we are Weaves and Wilson, and we are here to spill all of our beans about topics. As you guys can see, our video series, we constantly are dropping knowledge on anyone that would like it and trying to elevate everybody up to a whole new level in their life, because our main goal in our lives are global prosperity. So like I said, she's Louisa Bella. I'm Mark Wilson. And I just want to send some gratitude to every single one of you guys that have tuned in today to just be with us. And I really, really appreciate all your guys' energies and everything that you guys are going to be putting in the chat and telling us who's all here and everything. I'm really, really grateful for that. And if you guys are seeing value with this, please like the video. If you think that anybody else can see value from this, I would greatly appreciate you sharing it. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, and you want to see these two beautiful faces constantly, then subscribe and just put your notification on so we start popping up in your newsfeed. But anyways, Louisa, why did we join these people this morning or in your continent this evening?
So guys, today, like Mark said, it's all about learning. The reason why we chose this topic today is because over the past few months, me and Mark have been on this self-discovery journey. I know it sounds really like, woohoo, like fairy kind of. But it is true. It's I've decided as when we hit 2019, I decided that it was going to be a year of growth for myself, because if I grow, everything else grows. My business grows, my health grows, my relationships grow, because it all starts with you, right? If you're an unhappy person, everything around you is going to be negative. But if you're a happy person, everything around you is going to be positive. So this is where learning comes in, and you need to find something that really works for you. So I've been a huge fan for a long time of a gentleman called Bob Proctor. Now this guy is just a genius when it comes to thinking positive and the law of attraction. And a lot of people might know him from The Secret. He was one of the teachers on The Secret, but he's been around for decades, and he is actually one of the only living people left that has directly worked with somebody called Nightingale, who is one of the founders, the four founders of thinking and making your thoughts into your reality. So I don't know, Mark, do you want to talk about maybe somebody who inspires you?
Yeah, for sure. But before that, I want everyone to actually know what you decided about this year. Like, did you say that you were like, this is your fucking year? Like, you're going to claim it or something? Or like, what did you actually say about this year? Like, what decision did you make when it turned the calendar of 2019?
Yeah, so I was like, I decided that it was my year, that I was going to hit financial goal, that I was going to do everything that I said I wanted to do. And we're nearly oh my God, it's crazy. We're nearly halfway through the year. How crazy is that?
It's insane.
We are actually, we're in June, right? We are halfway through the year.
We're officially halfway through the year.
It flew. But because of this journey, and because I actually mentally decided that I was going to make this my year, it's all happening. It's absolutely crazy how much of what I have decided was going to happen is actually happening. And that is because in my head and in my mind, I've made that decision. And I've put it out there, and I've said all my goals to Mark so that he can keep me accountable as well. And it starts with just one decision and learning. And that's it.
Huge. And Louisa, has this been a straight path, or have you ever kind of lost that message along the way?
Like this. It has been, because, life gets so busy, right? So everybody's got such a busy life nowadays. It's just everyone's crazy with things and keeping up with appointments and meeting friends and like that. So you end up, it's very, very easy to lose track of what your goal is. And for example, I start my day with meditation. It's something I love, and it really sets my intentions for the day. But on many occasions, either I woke up late or I'm running late, and I don't prioritize that. And then I realized when you don't prioritize something that really helps you throughout the day, the whole day is like out of balance. So that's where learning how to put yourself first comes into play. Yes, you may be running late, doesn't matter, it's 15 minutes, meditate anyway, because it's going to help you along the way. So yeah, you're going to have your ups and downs, but it's all about learning how to balance life as well. Most definitely.
And how you grow through it all, right? Oh. So it's insane. And that's something I've heard a lot from a lot of very, very successful people. One of the people that I listen to a lot is Lewis Howes and his School of Greatness. I just think that it's cool to really hear people from all spectrums of the world and kind of what they've gone through and like the heights they hit. So he has like, you know, actors, motivational speakers, businessmen, businesswomen, you know, you name it, that he has that kind of category of person on his show. And it's really cool to hear like there are whole ebbs and flows of it all. And he speaks about this lots because he's constantly on the road, like, you know, traveling all these different places. So he has these appointments that he has to hit to. So he just like, you know, skips meditation in the morning because he's a big advocate of that as well. And it just like, he gets to lunch and he just like, it's just a whole different feeling upon the day, right? Because he knows, like he's learned, he's invested into himself. He has the routine, he has the rituals, but you just decide not to do it that day, and you're doing a disservice to yourself and the world, because you're not going to be able to, you know, really give the world what they expect of you, and that's not fair, right? So don't just think of everything being selfish, but think of it, because you're doing a disservice to you, you're doing a disservice to everybody else that's around you. So yeah, Lewis Howes is one of the guys that I listen to a lot. He's pretty amazing, but I just finished this book, and this is something that if you asked me 2 years ago, I'd be like, F no, reading's stupid. If you guys don't know anything about my story, I was born with a learning disability. I wasn't supposed to read past the 3rd grade level. I really struggled with that early in my life. So like reading has always been like a toxic word to me, like something that's like, you know, almost like swearing. So after I graduated school, even when I was in school, it would be like, you know, like we do like topics in high school, like you had to read a book, push an assignment. I'd be like reading like the back cover of it, like hitting some like crib notes on the internet when it was still a young place and didn't have as much information as it does now. And I'd be trying to steal all that information so I wouldn't have to put in all that work, so I wouldn't have to challenge myself to start reading. And I'm just telling you guys right now, like, learning and reading, I have a totally different outlook on life. I mean, when you're in school, it's just a whole different thing, because generally you don't see the value in it, because reading like a book like, what is it, Mice Over Men, or what's that book, Reese? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, we probably have a completely different
learning. Yeah. So anyways, like there's tons of books like that like, I mean, there's definitely things that you can learn from it, but it's just at that point in time, you're not really interested in that in your life. And I mean, the values that you get out of that are like more for like adults than kids. And I mean, when you're not seeing value in something, you're not going to put the effort into it, and you're not going to think about it on a high authority, basically. So for me, I didn't really put it on a high authority, and I went through 10 years of my life really not learning, other than the things I needed to at my job that I was working at that moment in time. Those were the only things I was learning. So when I was told that I needed to start, like, you know, reading and stuff like that, I was like, F, this is stupid. But you know what? I've been going through 10 years of my adulthood, 12 years of my adulthood, and I'm not even close to where I want to be. So fine, I'll try something. Now, I started reading this book called Think and Grow Rich, which is, coincidentally enough, is the book that Bob Proctor has really, you know, put his whole learning and kind of mindset around. And it just changed me. And I learned at an early time that, you know, just learning about certain things wasn't going to be good enough. Okay, because what's the point of having a bunch of knowledge? I'm sure you've heard of those people that are always a student but never like the doer, like never being successful because they're always learning, but they're never doing anything with the stuff that they learn, right? So it's great. You went to school for 10 years. Now what are you doing? And it's just like, oh, well, I have all this knowledge. It's like, what are you going to do with that? Oh, you just have a bunch of debt? That's sweet. But you know, when you're actually learning, when you're trying to further your mind, you're developing it, you should always be taking down things. And it was actually, I was listening to School of Greatness this morning, and Grant Cardone and Lewis Howes were talking about basically how Grant Cardone used to read these books and he would just highlight all these things in the books, and all these things were just things that you agreed upon, so things that were already in him, instead of like, you know, taking what he's reading and actually putting it out there and implementing into his life to further develop himself. So Louisa, how has that affected your life? Do you do that? Do you just highlight, or do you actually like write a note down so you can put that into your daily routine?
What I do is I take notes. I love taking notes. I'm one of these people that buys like a notepad every week and it's just full of notes. In fact, like I'm holding a pen right now. I've always got a pen in my hand. And what I do is when I read something that really resonates with me, I'll read that over and over and over and over again. It's almost like I've memorized it, because I really want to implement certain things into my life that I haven't yet implemented, that I know are going to make a big difference to me. So what I do is I reread things over and over and over again. We were having this discussion recently, me and Mark, because we both bought the same book, but he was listening to it first, and he's like, oh, here's the audiobook if you want it. And I was like, no, I like to read it first, and I'll read it and then I'll listen to the audiobook, because that's how my mind works. So yours probably could work the opposite. You like to listen and then you like to read. So at the moment, I'm also, when I'm in my car, I'm listening to an audiobook called, what was it called? I don't know, it's one of Bob Proctor's audiobooks. I think Get Rich or something like that it's called. I'll look for the name and I'll let you know. And I think I've listened to the same chapter for the past week, because it's a chapter that I really need to work on myself. And that's the only way you're going to learn, is by listening, understanding it. Because you listen to something once and you take maybe 2% of what that person is saying. You listen to it the second time, you're going to find something that you missed the first time. And it keeps going like that. So it's not just about getting through a book, because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I finished the book. Okay, you finished the book, but what did you get out of that book? What did you learn? And then they'll be like, yeah, I learned. But obviously you didn't, because all you're focused on is that you finished the book, not that you've learned from the book. I mean, I've got one book that I've been reading it for about 2 years. I probably know it inside out, but every time I actually read something, I learn something more from it. And that's what it is. It's about slowing the mind down a little bit, you know, getting rid of all the distractions and really focusing on what you're doing. Whether it's reading a book, whether it's 20 minutes of your day, you've got to read that book. Make those 20 minutes count and learn from what you're reading, because that's when you're really going to understand the knowledge that you've just gained. It's not just about the words, it's about understanding. It's about feeling them. It's about actually doing, implementing what you're reading. And it's really important, because like me and Mark was saying, he was asking me, what was 2019 for you? Like, what did you decide? And I was saying it was self-growth. And it really has been, because every single investment that I've made, like large sums of money that I've decided to invest in, I decided not to buy certain things, but instead to invest in myself and in learning. So I've bought like hundreds of dollars worth of seminars. I've bought so many books this year. I'm attending one of Bob Proctor's seminars. There's a whole, and it's all money invested in myself, which is going to probably give me a return of investment that's going to last me a lifetime. So it was definitely, yeah. So what do you find, Mark, that when you read something, you understand better, or would you rather listen to something?
Well, you know how I work. I'm easily excitable. So I hear something, I learn something, and I want to shout it from the rooftops. I generally immediately call you and be like, Louise, I just learned this. And you're just like, shut up, Mark. I also want to learn this. But bit different. So it's just, you know what I mean? So I'm that way. And it's funny because I actually told you, I think it was Thursday this last week, or maybe it was Wednesday. I'm like, Louisa, I finished the book. It's done. I've now listened to it 2 more times since Wednesday or Thursday, because this is a very huge topic for me. And when I can learn these things, I can pass it on to other people. So learning to me is such, like you said, a profitable thing, because I almost feel like it's an injustice if I don't properly learn anymore. Because if I'm not growing, if I'm not learning, I can't pass that forward to all you beautiful people. Like, and how shitty is that, right? If I stop my growth, I could potentially affect your guys' growth. So every day I wake up and I know I need to continue to grow. And it's kind of like watching a movie, right? The first time you watch a movie, especially like if it's a very intricate movie, you're going to miss some stuff, right? Or like there's just something that you're not going to get out of it. Some emotion, some whatever it is. And then you watch it for that second time and you're like, holy shit, I didn't even know that happened. And you're like, wow. And it's the same kind of thing. So like listening or reading, you could just not be in the right mindset at this moment in time to receive something.
Yeah, that's so funny you said that, of like not catching on to something the first time. I mean, me and Mark were both big Game of Thrones fans. Like, and I was always really backwards, like, have you watched that episode? I'm like, give me time. I need time to process the last episode before I can watch this episode. And he was like, you know, because she's now Jon Snow's like auntie or something. I was like, what? How the hell did I miss that? I'm like, what? And I had to go back and rewatch it. And I was like, I don't know how I missed that. But yeah, you know, because you do miss things, like when you're getting really involved in something. It's like you're not concentrated 100%. There's always something else that's going on, so you miss out on stuff. But
yeah, life's crazy, right?
Before I forget, so the audiobook I was telling you I listened to is called You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. It is such a good audiobook. If you're driving, it's such an amazing audiobook to listen to. So I really recommend that everybody gets that. You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Louisa. That's fantastic, guys. Go out and read it. I'm pretty sure you can find pretty affordable copies of it because it's an older book now. So it should be very easy for you guys to continue to listen to, right? So yeah, I mean that's the thing. So now I've listened to this 3 times and I've absorbed so much more information each time that I've listened to this book, and now I can put it back out there for every single one of you. And some of the things, it's funny, when I was reading this and I did or listening to it, I didn't realize I was doing so many things right. And it's funny because sometimes you have that self-doubt when you're learning, when you're growing. If you don't have anybody to give you that gold star of approval, right? It's not like you're back in high school and that like, hey, you're learning, and then you turn in an assignment and the assignment says A+ or F-, and you're like, oh, fuck. Well, in this, it's just like you're learning, you're doing things. So I was already doing things very right, but because I had hesitation on it, I wasn't fully committing to it. And that's my own personal issues that I deal with myself, not believing in myself enough to really dive deeper. And it's something that I've really been working on. And Louisa can definitely attest to that. This year has been a huge thing that compared to 6 months ago to now, way different mindset about really believing in myself and what I'm executing. And basically, like, I was doing these things and this book just said, like, hey, like, you need to do this thing on a grander scale. And I was like, wow, I'm already doing this. This is amazing. Why didn't I just push myself down that path? So it's not only when you're reading and learning and growing, they're going to read new things. It's also going to, click things in your brain that you're already doing or you have learned, or the skill that you may have. And it just takes it up to the next notch. So it's really crazy, guys. So yeah, if you guys don't have an audiobook to listen to, go get that Bob Proctor book right freaking now. Do not hesitate. Do not just think and I'll do it later, because there's always a new later, guys. All right, but there's now right here. Exactly, it's never going to happen. I've done it because I've told Louisa I'm going to go. Get this book or read this or do that. And it's actually funny, if she wouldn't have been like, hey, Louisa, I really like this book. I'm thinking about it. And literally within 10 minutes, she's like, oh, I just bought it, Mark. I was like, fuck, I really have to do it. And then I was just like, that night I bought it. And then when she woke up in the morning, she saw that I also had it. So yeah, it's crazy, especially when you have other people around you that are such positive influences. So grateful. But yeah, guys, just go out there and start pushing yourself to learn something. And don't just learn it for the sake of learning. Do it that you may be interested in it. It doesn't have to be business related if that's not where your mind is right now. Say you like fantasy football. Go download a fantasy football app and start upping your skill in that. Maybe you like cooking. Maybe you should start learning some new recipes or some new ways of doing things. All of that. Just go learn something new and see how exciting it's going to make you. Because I know when I learn, I'm so freaking excited. Louisa, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on before we let these beautiful people go?
No, I think that was it. It's just keep an open mind, guys. Learning that you can never learn enough, right? And it's so much fun as well when you're out with friends or something and a topic comes up and it's a topic that you've been learning about. Being knowledgeable about something, it gives you this sense of achievement, and people listen to you. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine and I was explaining to her something really simple, if you own, I don't know, if you want to build a car, right? You're not going to get advice from a chef on how to build a car, because they have who's built cars and who's already established themselves in that area. So that's the kind of thing you need to learn, and you need to be established in a certain area as well. Find something that you love, right? And get really good at it and learn. Learning is fun. I love learning.
It's awesome.
I think it's great.
Love it. So guys, if any of you guys are looking to take your businesses up to the next level, or just taking your lives up to the next level, or try something new and need some help with learning, contact Louisa or me. We would be very, very helpful and happy to really be helpful for you guys. And maybe we can mention you to that next level in your life. I mean, we have been able to do it for hundreds and hundreds of people in the past. So yeah, guys, anyways, we will see you next week. I hope you guys all have fantastic weeks. And if you haven't already, like, share, comment. See you next time.